Congressman Steve Scalise says when it comes to coastal restoration, Louisiana had a big win in the latest budget passed in Congress. He joins us now to talk about the budget and some other things specifically geared toward Louisiana. Congressman Scalise, thank you for joining us.
Eric, great to be back with you. Hope you had a great Mardi Gras, and happy birthday to Sally Ann.
Well, that's very nice. She'll appreciate that. I know you had a great ride when you were riding in Bacchus on Sunday night, so I'm glad you were able to do that. Now let's get to this coastal restoration problem. This has been an ongoing problem for Louisiana, and there has been money appropriated for it, but we haven't been getting it.
Right. 2017 marked the very first year that Louisiana finally started getting revenue from the drilling that goes on offshore, which we've dedicated to coastal restoration. And in previous presidential budgets, going back to Barack Obama, for all of his budgets, and even last year, President Trump's first budget, all of those budgets proposed raiding our coastal restoration money. So a few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to go out to Camp David with the president and some of his team. And when we were talking, I kind of pulled Mick Mulvaney, the OMB director, aside, and I said, look, this is the history of coastal restoration money and the revenue sharing, and it's why it's important to energy production, but also for Louisiana, this is what we're doing with the money. Stop proposing to raid the money because we're not going to let that pass in the House anyway. And so the president's budget came out earlier this week, and sure enough, Mick Mulvaney gave me a heads up, but they stopped proposing to raid our coastal restoration money in the budget.
And just about how much will this mean to Louisiana?
It could mean hundreds of millions of dollars. It'll vary each year depending on oil production. One of the things that Senator Cassidy and I got in the tax cut bill was an increase in the cap on how much we can get, which is going to mean Louisiana specifically, for about a 2-year period, is going to get an extra $100 million on top of what we would have already gotten. So it could mean for Louisiana a few $100 million each year to restore our coast. So it's really a serious amount of money to fix a serious problem.
On the overall budget and the tax decrease, the tax cuts, you know, when George Herbert Walker Bush was running against Ronald Reagan, he said lowering taxes and raising spending just didn't work.
Well, and George H.W. Bush was wrong back then. You know, that was when he was running against Ronald Reagan in the Republican primary. Reagan ultimately did cut taxes in 1986 and before that, and what you saw was the Reagan Revolution.
But
the economy took off like nothing we've seen before.
A lot of economists now are saying that this is bad economics. It will hurt us down the road.
Right. It's the same economists who were wrong back in 86. You're already, Eric, seeing the economy take off once again, specifically because we cut tax rates. And you're seeing every week we see company after company giving bonuses and pay raises to their workers, not just the big companies like AT&T and Home Depot and FedEx, but local companies. You know, and I highlighted Blessing Marine and Gnarly Barley in Louisiana, where they're giving the same kind of benefits to their workers. And what we're seeing from that is more economic growth, lower unemployment, and that means more money coming into the federal treasury to ultimately pay down the deficit.
And Congressman, we're out of time, but do you think the president handled the Rob Porter incident, the aide who was accused of inflicting pain or harm on 2 of his ex-wives?
Well, they ultimately let him go, which was the right thing to do because the allegations are very serious, and and it looks like he's got a serious problem, but he doesn't deserve to be in the White House, and I'm glad that they removed him.
Did the president handle it correctly, though?
Well, I think the ultimate way he handled it was to make sure that Porter was removed. He's no longer working for the White House anymore, and that's the result that we should have had, and we do have.
All right, Congressman, thank you very much, and glad you got that money for Louisiana.
Yeah, it's going to be real important to restoring our coast, so another good win for us, and appreciate being with you.
All right.
And we're going to miss Sally Ann.
We are. Thank you very much, Congressman.